Now, here's a question for you. So, how much responsibility does Hollywood have to take? Because they are, I wouldn't even say knee deep, they are eyeball deep in this shit.
Well, the irony is, for most, I mean, look, this is a controversial thing to say, but I think most male actors would understand it, is most guys get into acting to do sex scenes with girls.
Really?
I think so.
Is that why you wanted to be an actor?
No, I love the craft, mate.
Well, no, I'm not saying it's their total reason, but it's definitely one of the reasons. And, you know, Hollywood is mired in casting couch. And, you know, like in theatre, there's a whole thing about touring when you've got landlady does, landlady's daughter does, is LDDs, you know, in the bottom of guest books and stuff. The whole thing is about shagging at the end of the day. And now Hollywood has tried to go, no, it's not. Because, you know, it's been outed. But I think we're guilty. I don't know. You watch the films, like watch Walter Mitty and something like that, the original Walter Mitty and all that, and see how powerful and strong those female characters are, and how you get a sort of sense of what the culture was like. And now watch a Hollywood film, of which I find it quite tricky, unless, you know, I'm dragged to watch one, and none of it has any chemistry. You're really lacking chemistry because everyone's sort of stuck in a kind of, no, this is, as the woman in this, I'm going to be like this, and as the man in this, I'm going to be like this. People are constantly trying to second guess themselves. I think films are better when they're, you know, when they're made by talented people who aren't trying to make a point, or they're trying to make a decent political point, like The Joker or something like that, which is the last film I could be bothered to watch.
Did you watch it? Yeah. What do you think of it?
Stunning. Brilliant movie. But it's so nice. Most interesting is the response to it from the twatter going, they're Antifa, or they're this, or they're that. And it's like, no, it's just a story. Yeah. And it's beautifully told and extremely dark. And they're bringing fairy tales up and giving them to adults. You know, Michael Keaton's Batman may not age that well. I don't think it has aged that well, has it? So, you know, it's just become an adult-based thing. Yeah, Hollywood's hypocritical. We all are.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it started off with orgies in Greece, didn't it? That's how it all started, the theatre, people banging each other. Yeah, my girlfriend's Greek. Yeah, she's not into that. Anyway, sadly.
I started off. We met at an orgy in Greece.
That was a bit of a breakdown there.
The pressure of it all is getting to me. But,
it's just all about banging, mate.
Having said that, have you noticed a real difference in the industry between post-Me Too and pre-Me Too? Was it like a sizable change?
It depends on the person. When I do sex scenes or anything with somebody, I'm just out of pure natural, like, politeness. Generally, I go, "What, are you cool with this? You know, what is there anything you don't want to do?" And we talk it through, because it's also a deeply unsexy thing to do, a sex scene, weirdly. But now you get an intimacy coordinator at work.
What's that?
If you have to do a sex scene, you get an intimacy coordinator.
What do they do?
They coordinate your intimacy.
How do they do that?
They talk you through it. I mean, I haven't had one
there's someone
yet.
who can teach you foreplay.
Do you work privately outside of work? Yeah, so
you've got to rub here for 3 minutes.
It's very serious, but it's again, that's a tricky thing, isn't it? You know, intimacy is a tricky thing.
How do you get qualified to be an? I'd love it if it was a Russian. You must rub for 3 minutes here.
It's a 5-week course, but you can fast track it in 2 weeks. I'm qualifying as we speak. Yes, lovely. I'd be a terrible intimacy coordinator.
So that is, and that I presume is done legally, so that if there is any pushback on the studio, they go, "Hang on, we hired this particular person," and then everything
went fine. But also, where's the barrier between? I mean, obviously, like I'm saying, it was very easy for me to work with a woman, or in some cases a man, and do intimacy stuff, because I'm like, "You all right with them? No, okay, you know," and you chat it through, and then it's not a shock. But if you've got, I don't know, you kind of also, you want a bit of a frisson, even if it's pretend, because otherwise you'll just spot it. It'll look very mechanical. We don't know. That's the problem. I think we just don't know how. There's obviously a problem between men and women and how we are engaging. I don't happen to think it's all men. I think it's probably a small minority of men, like most things. Like there's a small minority of very nasty women who do their bit, but we're allowing the minority to dominate the general conversation by trying to obliterate everything and normalize everything and turn everything into one note, so that we all we're all the same. It's equality of outcome, isn't it? That's what they're after.
Well, you need just a balance. I think it probably is important to say that people like Harvey Weinstein, what they're alleged to have done is horrific.
Yeah.
And none of us would condone that. And I think it's fair to say that has been a problem in that environment where you have these massive power disparities and lots of people want to be actors, just like lots of people want to be comedians. And if there is beautiful women and powerful men and the power disparity, that will often result in that kind of situation. But again, as you say, it's a minority of people.
You also, you know, I know somebody who's been in that situation and they knew exactly what was happening really quickly and they got out of it, you know? So it's horrific and it's totally wrong, and I hope anyone who does that, the full weight of the law comes down right on top of them. But again, there are people that aren't doing that, that are, you know, that there is a chemistry between people. You know, you have chemistry between people all the time, and we're trying to obliterate that. And I think it's bad, and I'll obviously be shot down for saying that because it just makes sense.
Mate, the more you get shot down in this interview, the better it is for you.
And I don't care. I'm bored. You know, it's difficult.
But one thing that always, again, why does it surprise me? It's Hollywood. But just the sheer hypocrisy of going back to the Weinstein situation, where you have all these people coming out and going, what he did was disgusting and awful. And of course it is, and it was. But then you saw the pictures of them in the award ceremonies, big plastered grins on their faces, arms around them, and you're telling me you didn't know 2 years ago, but now you've suddenly...
And God forbid, are there people that have condemned people like that and quietly got where they wanted to get? You know, do those people exist that have you know, kept themselves quite quiet and climbed the ladder that way? I'm certain there are. You know, in the same way, it's the invisibility. It's the kind of impunity people have to their own ridiculousness. But showbiz is particularly bad that way. You know.